Just 2 months after the Mexico eclipse, similar sphere-like objects were recorded by the crew of the Discovery space shuttle. Anomalous objects seen on the STS-48 mission footage, taken on the 15th of September 1991, have been explained away by NASA as nothing more than ice crystals, whose sudden movement was caused by the release of directional jet nozzles from the shuttle itself. What though the mysterious meteor-like streaks seen in the same sequence? And what of this counter-explanation to NASA's ice crystal theory by Dr. Jack Kasher of Nebraska State University?
At least 5 proofs that the objects were not ice particles, therefore spacecraft, and they were either extraterrestrial or terrestrial. Obviously, that's the dichotomy that
While many still remain unconvinced that the STS-48 footage captured intelligently controlled spacecraft in mid-flight, it was the catalyst that would persuade both UFO researchers and amateur astronomers alike to pay much closer attention to space shuttle missions in the future. 3 months later, on the 1st of December 1996, space shuttle astronauts on board STS-80 filmed something remarkable. Scores of anomalous objects could be seen skirting Earth's upper atmosphere below, but then, from beneath a high bank of cloud, emerged a large sphere, almost plasma-like in appearance. And as the sequence rolls, note how the camera on board the space shuttle zooms in on a cluster of anomalous objects which appear to congregate on the Earth's horizon. Interestingly, during that same mission, astronauts would point their cameras towards Brazil, more specifically Sao Paulo. Were they expecting something? Whatever suddenly streaked into view would appear to suggest they were. But what was it? A short time would pass before anomalous activity was filmed again, only this time in close proximity to the Mir space station. The STS-84 docking and undocking mission with Mir provided breathtaking images. It also provided further puzzles. Thanks to an amateur astronomer known as Willie, some of the footage transmitted by STS-84 was disseminated around the world. Hardly surprising, since it contains several remarkable scenes. Determining which one has most appeal, or greater mystery, is debatable. But why does this particular sphere suddenly come to a direct stop, hover momentarily, then move up and behind the Mir space station to emerge on the other side? And was this appearance of dozens of anomalous objects caused by the flushing of a toilet on board the space shuttle, or something else? Assuming then that this is mere space debris, would it not be considered dangerous to those on board both the space shuttle and Mir space station? To answer that question would require detailed analysis of pristine STS-84 footage, but NASA refuses to release any of it, and the question is surely, why? And, amidst all of this carefully logged footage that amounted to over 2,500 hours, Martin further claimed to have stumbled across something equally extraordinary, palpable evidence for the reality of not one, but 2 extraterrestrial life forms. Call it good luck, call it what you will, but on hearing Martin relate his extraordinary story,
everything to date that has been shot by humans from here, from the ground, I call one. That's one. The space phenomena, the spheres, outer space, that's shot from NASA's cameras is 2, and I thought it would stop at 2.
It was a huge sphere. I think it appeared when we were over Newfoundland. The sea was in the background. It was shining, sparkling, of absolutely even shape. It shone like the balls that hang on trees at Christmas, greenish in color and all shimmering. It was impossible to take your eyes off it.
Columbia, Houston, we're looking at our Payload Bay camera, and it looks like a lot of moonlight glinting off the ocean, a whole sparkling bed of diamonds out there. Is that a real picture, or are we just getting some video fuzz?
Hey, Houston, we're recording that. That's some of the ice crystals that we were dumping out earlier, and yeah, it's a beautiful picture.
That's a great combination of the moonlight and the ice and the clouds.
Yeah, it's a combination of moonlight making those ice crystals sparkle, and maybe as well as some of the sun starting to come up on the horizon.
Well, thanks for the picture.
The Mir space station is now visible on the far left-hand side of the screen, about an inch from the bottom of this particular picture. And there were also a number of shooting stars in that view. The camera has now moved to a point Okay, the Mir space station is the small flashing light in the center, about an inch from the left-hand side of the screen. It's slowly...
Now the hell on the camera.
It is slowly moving closer to the left-hand side and is it has a very light flashing to it.
We think on the middle of the screen, way to the left-hand side. Got an articulation mark when you look out there. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Never mind. Are we missing something? I don't see anything. Yeah, we think the camera filter came off, Mark. It's about your 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock going away. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. Discovery, we're sending you an order to stay vector. And we see the satellite now. It's like a bright spot at the end of the tether, and on the other end, the low end, there's also a relatively bright spot, which is maybe an accumulation of the tether. And we are downlinking camera Delta now.
Okay, we copied and understand as you're viewing it on the monitor, the satellite is at the top of the tether.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Camera Bravo. We had the camera Bravo constantly on the tether. Unfortunately, we don't see the tip of the boom, but in a few seconds you'll see the tether break. And this one, of course, was not a 10 lead. It just recorded. It could not be bumped either, so it will record steadily the whole break and coil back of the tether.
Copy, Claude.
We go.
Again, this is a view of the satellite.
Well, if it had to break, it did it in the right place.
So. The left-hand corner there, straight as an arrow. So it seems from here.
Yes, sir, we have it. Great picture.
It came and went pretty quick, but that was about as much as we have of it.
Columbia and the satellite now 77 nautical miles apart. Again, that call reporting that the crew can see the tether and see the satellite, that it's beautiful. This view showing the satellite. Again, just moving into sunrise. 81 nautical miles now from Columbia.
You guys getting the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us, and it's illuminated by the sun at such low angle. So there's a lot of stray light, and it's getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Copy that.
Again, that description by the crew, this is the tether in the satellite with approximately 12 miles of tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa. The two spacecraft now 90 nautical miles apart. controllers for the satellite did have communications with it during the close pass between Columbia and the satellite.
Columbia, Houston, that's a much better view, a lot more contrast visible. And how wide does that tether appear to be? It seems to resemble a much wider strand than we'd expect. Can you describe which way the satellite is visible on that strand?
Satellite now 100 nautical miles.
Charlie, completely unzoomed, and you see the full extent of the tether. I tried to adjust the focus, but I can't get better than that.
Okay, Claude. Thank you.
I'm going to zoom in now.
It should mirror exactly what she's doing on the inside.
Okay. Right now, the handle is installed with the tab in the unlocked position. I'm going to rotate the tab to the locked position now if you're ready.
We're ready.
Okay, we are fully seated in the locked position.
Okay, Tammy, we didn't see any motion on the outside. If you would, go ahead and move it back to the unlocked.
Okay, I'm pulling back to the unlocked, and again, it's only going about 3/4 of the way, will not lie flat, and will not seat, as I mentioned earlier.
And Tammy, if you could, simultaneous with trying to put it in the unlocked position, if you would move the handle a little bit back and forth.
Do that. Okay, that's in work now, Bill.
Okay, and we can see the handle moving on the outside.
Okay, and but any indication that the lock is being actuated?
No, we can't see any indication of that. And
Guido could have easily dismissed this sampling as ice crystals at best, or errant nonsense at worst. The fact that he chose to do neither is symbolic perhaps of the potential importance both he and a great many others attach to the footage. The onus surely now rests with people like Guido and others elsewhere in the scientific community to determine whether or not the second space phenomena is a genuine phenomenon. And were that proven to be the case, two burning questions would need to be addressed. Is it extraterrestrial? And is it intelligent? If the answer to either is deemed yes, we could have arrived at an historic moment. For Martin Stubbs, it would be the vindication of what he and millions like him have always maintained, that we are not alone in the universe. His, after all, was a chance discovery, a fleeting glimpse of something that sped across his television monitor that most would fail to notice. He focused on that. He looked for more of the same, under different conditions, and found them in abundance. But found what exactly? Some of the greatest scientific discoveries known to man have often been born from chance events. But is it remotely conceivable that one of the greatest discoveries of all time could have been similarly unearthed by a humble cable TV manager operating out of a small community station in Vancouver? History will surely go on to determine the truth, provided, that is, others within the scientific community are equally prepared to explore the limitless possibilities now before them. But who among them will be courageous enough, ambitious enough, to step forward and examine this evidence. There will be many who will choose to ignore it, blinded by self-imposed scientific dogma and bland indifference towards all who champion the extraterrestrial hypotheses. But those that do express an interest may well find themselves embarking upon one of the greatest scientific treks of all time.
I can't explain it because I don't really think that's my job right now. I'm merely a person who's gathering grains of salt together and putting them in front of you.